Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Beer There, Drunk That, a podcast where three dudes who drink beer are going to talk about it. Uh, my name's Donny, and I guess my background is I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I drink beer.
Luke, you want to take it away?
Yeah, yeah. My name is Luke. I am sitting behind my bar currently. I've put a lot of hours into this thing. Um, Not the building of it, but the drinking what's in it. Uh, I am a Rochester, but specifically like a Henrietta, New York resident. So I'm like gateway to the Finger Lakes. So I'm happy to be here, in the company of some great friends and certainly a region with some great beer.
Well, that's a fantastic way to kind of explain where we live. A gateway to the Finger Lakes. I like that.
Yeah.
I like
Oh
that.
yeah,
Only if you're coming from the west, though, I guess, right?
yeah, but
Or the
It
North.
I
counts.
don't
It
think the
counts. Or the north.
yeah, or if you're just shooting south over Lake Ontario on a
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah, if you're coming,
You
that's what I'm
gotta
saying. If you're
pass
coming from
by.
the North, you know?
That's true. That's true. Well, I'm gonna crack a beer. I didn't crack mine to start. So cheers,
Ooh,
boys.
Cheers.
cheers.
Um, I'm Keegan. I like to drink beer, and I am also from Henrietta. Luke and I both guard the gateway to the Finger Lakes. Um, and I currently live in the city of Windy Apples, New York City. So I'm glad I can join you guys. I got a good variety of beer. Luckily, I have my Western New York roots with our very own Genesee brew house in the background there. So
Yeah,
I'm excited to do it.
Nice. Well,
sweet.
yeah, I guess for this first episode, I think we're just going to talk about some kind of what we like, what we don't like, some of our regular spots, Um, since I did the introduction, one of you take it away because I gotta think for a minute.
All right.
Um, yeah, I mean, in just kind of getting into what I like and don't like, I think it's easier for me to say what I don't like, which is
Mm.
there's not much that I don't like. I feel like I'm a cheap date in that I'll pretty much give a good review for most beer or a decent review. It's hard for me to hate a beer. It is possible. Like I'll be upfront about that. I've definitely had some beer where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna set this to the side forever.
Well, what's the worst
Um,
thing you've ever had?
oh, oh man. I had it was a pumpkin chocolate sour, and I don't even remember like I wasn't at the brewery when I consumed it because I feel like it would have gotten ugly. I wouldn't have wanted to have been offensive to the
I
brewer.
I feel like it's tough to have a sour with two things that aren't sour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because
That's a
the
little
point of it, it's supposed to be like tart fruit. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
I,
it was one of the worst things ever to to touch any human's mouth, I think. So
and it touched yours.
it touched mine, yeah. Didn't touch mine for long. That was one that I kind of rushed through just to get rid of it, but my dad and uncle had tried that and they said, "Luke, you have to try this. This is the worst."
oh, so it wasn't even like a glowing recommendation, and they just fooled you.
Oh
They
no, yeah.
thoroughly okay.
That
Yeah, they
sucks
wanted
when
me to
someone
suffer.
that sucks when someone recommends something and you're just like, wow, this is bad. Like,
Yep.
I don't, I can't even like. It existed.
Yep.
Well, what's the worst beer you've ever had, Keegan?
I mean, honestly, I just like to drink. So I as an alcoholic, I don't have too many beers that I dislike. Um, I mean, I'm really not a fan of like. So here's the thing. I like my stouts. I like my porters. But if something is too heavy into coffee, I'm out. I'm out. I can't do it.
Oh.
And so it's not even like I've never been traumatized by a beer, so that's good. Um,
I
I
have.
don't have a
Like,
specific
I've
one.
been,
You
I've
have?
been,
I would
yeah.
love to hear that story. Let's get that.
Well, so when I texted you guys about it a couple weeks ago, I had it was a chili Rauch beer from a local
Oh
place here in
yeah.
Milwaukee, and so it was a Rauch beer. Rauch is to smoke in German, And so it was a smoked beer made with like ancho chilies and like like Mexican chilies. And so it was smoky and it was spicy and it was beer. Um and so like have you guys ever had like liquid smoke or something like that?
Yeah.
Like where it's like that art like it's so strong like smoke like you need like just a little tiny drop of it for it to work. And I felt like every time I took a sip, I got a flight of it. I got a little taster. And it literally, like every time I took a sip, it would like rush up the back of my nose. And just it felt like I had just inhaled a cigarette. Like and then it
That's
was
actually
and
that's
then it,
funny you should mention. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, and then it was spicy on top of that. So like I just couldn't get it out of my mouth.
Oh my
And
god.
so I was just like it was like gulp and then like micro sips of the other beers to try and get the taste out of my mouth.
That is evil, man.
It is.
That's
It's
so
not a good
wrong.
combo.
It's just not something I want to drink. Like if I had a full 12 ounce or 16-ounce pour of it, no way I could have drank it all.
No.
I
No,
mean,
that
unless you
that
want,
sounds
unless
like
you
an
enjoy,
awful experience.
yeah, unless you enjoy drinking campfires, I guess.
Literally. Like
With that,
I've had spicy beer that's good before because it was drinkable, but the smoke was
Yeah.
too much for me.
I mean, so does that, and this will be a conversation for a later episode. Does that make it a campfire beer because you're drinking a campfire? Or does it knock it out of
Ugh.
consideration because you don't want it? So I think I don't know. That's something we'll have to table that
Alright.
beer. And I
We'll
would
have
love
to get a
talk about it.
definition written out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
We'll
Well,
have
it's
a
like
round table and discuss the terms.
a lawnmower beer. Does it taste like a lawnmower engine?
That's true. That's true. Is it just grass?
Yeah, does it smell
Tastes
like
like
a two
hay?
stroke?
Some of the motor oil consistency and look stouts might
Yeah.
might fit that category. But
I'm curious, Keegan, because don't you drink coffee regularly, right? But you
I
don't like
don't.
coffee. Really?
I
thought you did.
dislike coffee, and Caitlin hates me every day because of it. One of
Oh,
the many
okay.
things she hates about me.
Because I also don't like coffee. I always thought you did like coffee.
No, so yeah, I'm not a coffee guy. But like the only exposure to coffee that I enjoy the smell of coffee, I'll be honest. But when I have porters and stouts that are kind of like lighter in that coffee arena, I can handle it. I can
Like a
handle it.
Guinness
But
is fine, I
a
assume.
Guinness is well, first of all, that's top tier beer. So
But like where like
um
when you get to like a Murphy's, because Murphy's is a lot more coffee than
I've
Guinness.
actually never had Murphy's, I'll be honest.
Really? I got
Never
some
had
in the
a
fridge
Oh,
right
wow.
now.
Oh, send me one over. Just walk one over. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Um,
It'll
no, I
be
mean
a
like
minute.
if you ever had the like Flying Dog Brewery in Utica, they have let me look it up. I gotta find my Untapped. We'll plug Untapped right now too.
Yeah,
So
add us on Untapped. My only friends are my girlfriend's dad and one of his friends, who is ironically from Webster, New York.
hey,
hell yeah, Webster.
Yeah, we were at a brewery with
Where-
him the other day, and he
where
was saying,
life is worth living.
yeah, he was saying to
That's
me, he's like, yeah, this brewery they do really good cream ales. I'm like, yeah, when I was in college, we used to drink this lovely cream ale called Genesee. He's like, I'm from Rochester, and I'm like, I went to RIT, like,
So you
So
know
you're
he's just a
very
stand-up guy
familiar.
automatically.
yeah.
It
So
was all right. So sorry. So it's the Flying Dog Brewery, and it was the Gonzo Imperial Porter. And that was about my limit for coffee. It's got like a hint of it, a little chocolatey kind of sensation, but it was there. I feel like if Jenny did like a nice coffee stout, I'm always gonna like it because it's Jenny.
Sure.
they really don't make a bad thing. Like I know it gets the bad rap in a lot of places, but
It's funny because I've had a lot of conversations with people because I'm with you guys in that I have not had a Jenny beer that I haven't liked, but there are, in fact, I've talked to a few Rochester natives who just do not like the Jenny flavor. And it doesn't matter what style of beer that they have. They're like, "Oh, you can taste it," which I don't necessarily agree with that. Um, but I guess I guess it could be an acquired taste, but they do a lot more than just the three there. The Jenny Heavy, Jenny Light, and then the cream ale, right? They
yeah,
go
I mean,
way beyond that.
their seasonal releases are some of the best beers I've had. And actually, a buddy of mine texted me last night. There's a place here in Wisconsin. I think they're They were based out of Madison. The story I know is they were based out of Madison. And like they shut down their brewery, like their brew house because of like real estate, and Madison's horrible. Now they brew it up in Kenosha, but they're trying to look for a new space in Madison to sit down and have a beer. But they regularly make a Kolsch called Commuter Kolsch, and they also do a Ruby Red Grapefruit Kolsch, which is Jenny's like that's
Yeah.
like the magnum opus of beer right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
For
you've got
sure.
the Saranac
Hey,
Ruby Red.
Old Saranac Ruby Red.
I do like Saranac. They do a good job too. But yeah, that Jenny Kolsch, that, and we can get into this at a later time too, but that is like peak summertime. It's warm out. You're on a boat or you're in your yard. That is a fantastic beer.
There's nothing better. There's nothing
Yeah.
better. And
Well,
honestly, like, and well, one of us will review it at some point. Is their pineapple Kolsch,
oh,
and it's one of those things that to me it was a step backwards, but never a misstep. You know
it
what I
tastes
mean?
like a
Like
Scooby Doo
Yeah.
fruit snack.
it, Donnie, that is unbelievable. That
It,
is
I
it
like
that's
tastes like a
exactly
Scooby
what
Doo
it
fruit
is. It
snack.
is. It is.
It's
It
great.
is.
Like I'm never gonna say no to one, but I agree that the Ruby Red, and actually out here too, another one. You guys are familiar with Line and Kugel's Summer Shandy, all
Oh,
time
that
summer
was my
beer.
next one. Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. I actually have a guy that I work with now. He used to work for Molson Coors, who does the brewing for Line and Kugels
Yeah.
here in the city. Um, they do a Ruby Red grapefruit. They do a grapefruit Kolsch as well, or not Kolsch,
Ooh.
Shandy. Sorry,
Oh,
got on my
okay. I
head.
was gonna say I
But
had
the
heard of the
only
Shandy.
place, the only place you can get it in a Liney's variety pack in the summer. But they also have a brewery, a Line and Kugels brewery in the baseball stadium here in Milwaukee, and so where they brew their own beers there, and so that's one of the only places you can get it.
Oh,
All right, I'm
that is
hopping on.
awesome.
I'm going to opening day with you there. Then, like, we're there.
April 2nd, we'll be there. Yeah, no, they do. So talking about semantics of beers, last year when I was at the Brewers playoff game, they had a pilot batch beer, which was a caramel corn flavored beer.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was.
And how was that?
It tasted like caramel corn. It was not refreshing, but it was like they had a flavor profile and they hit it. No.
I'm a sucker for unique flavor combinations. You'll get that will be one of the beers in my flight 100% of the time if you can get me to go, huh, about some sort of flavor or flavor combination. So that's right up my alley.
Well, and I guess I can move into like beers I like. I like lighter things. I'm a big wheat beer or like Pilsner guy. I like Pilsners are like the edge of hoppiness for me. It's like IPAs get a little too much, but the Pilsners have the right level of hop for me. I also like brown ales. But in terms of favorite places here in Milwaukee, every week I go to Indeed Brewing here in Milwaukee. They're based out of Minneapolis, but they have a brew house here. We play trivia there. But they do really unique flavor beers. So one of their big seasonal beers that just got released again is called LSD. It is a lavender, sunflower honey, and date flavored beer. And
Oh,
that's
I'm in.
it's like herbaceous and floral. It's so good. They also have a beer right now that is a an old fashioned, as in the cocktail flavored cream ale. And it hits the mark as well. You know,
Is it a good mark or a bad mark?
it's a great mark. Like I'll drink that. They also
Okay.
have
Okay.
their Black Friday beer was a have you guys ever had a spumoni, the Italian dessert?
Oh
It,
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
it's like chocolate, cherry, and pistachio, and that's all those flavors in a beer. It's great. So
So
it's unique things like that that keep me going back because I'm like, oh, there's gonna be something new and different here.
it just yeah, I feel that. I don't so in New York I haven't found I mean, I guess there's the Brooklyn Brewery, which unfortunately I haven't been to yet. Um I like hitting so right over on 96th Street, they got the Vinyl Beer and Wine where Luke has spent a pretty penny coming down to visit. Um, but they have a great mix of craft beers, and I mean, one of them I do enjoy lighter beers, but again, I haven't really met a beer that I won't drink. So in that sense, I do love my wheat beers. One of my favorites, I got the poster hanging up, is the Ellicottville Blueberry. Luke
Mm-hmm.
got me that wonderful sign there. Um, and then yeah, I love my ruby red Kolsch. I love anything citrusy is really kind of right up my alley. But Donnie, if I can jump in, the Spumoni thing. So I'll be honest, I didn't know that was a thing. So the only time I've been exposed to Spumoni was in semi-pro with Will Ferrell when he is wrestling the bear, and Spumoni's the safe word, and it wasn't very safe. So
I've
so
never
I
had the
appreciate you
dessert.
educating me a little bit.
I've just had the beer.
Well, that makes it so much
Yeah, now you
better.
got to try the dessert and see if it matches up.
Yeah, Sophie's mom was just like, yeah, it's like a nice dessert, like we'll make it sometime. I'm like, okay,
Well,
cool.
that's like the people, Donnie. That's just like the people who watch the movie before they read the book.
Exactly. Harry Potter,
Yeah.
Narnia, Italian desserts.
It's applicable to everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as my likes for beer, my number one are the stouts and porters, which I don't know if it's a controversial or like hot take, but the two to me are kind of interchangeable at times nowadays. But so again, that might be a bit of a hot take. But I am completely unafraid of like the motor oil consistency of certain stouts. I absolutely love stouts. IPAs are my second favorite. That took some work to get there. I needed that jumping off point.
I'm working
And
on that
honestly,
too. I get
yeah,
it.
man. And we'll get you there, dude, because it's definitely worth it. It opens up so many avenues because IPAs, and certainly around here, like the Finger Lakes region, IPAs are super, super popular. But my preference in an IPA is like a hazy or kind of unfiltered. I want stuff floating in it. I want sediment, mulch. I don't care. I want to see stuff floating. I want to see stuff floating in it.
I want to be crunching on it.
I want to be chewing my IPA.
Yeah.
Luke,
I have a place for you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I've got a place for you, Luke. I went to a place when I was in Dallas for work last year, and I'll talk more about the place at some other time. The other places I went, but it's called Celestial Beer Works, and like they had like 18 beers on tap, and over half of them were hazy double IPAs. Like the lowest ABV I could find on the menu is 6%. And it was great stuff. It was a really cool place. I'm glad I went, but I was like, whoa, this is a little intimidating for someone who doesn't really like the IPAs right now. And I'm working on it. I'm drinking an IPA right now. Chili Rabbit, a cold IPA from Lakefront Brewery here in Milwaukee. It's good.
That's a great glass too. I love those like can style glasses.
I got it on their brewery tour here. If you get
They're the
whenever you guys
best.
come out to visit, I'll take you on the tour. It's a great tour.
They're
They
the
give you a
best.
free glass. Yeah.
That's in fact right now I'm drinking a black rye IPA from Tracy B's, which is my all-time favorite brewery, a little farm stand brewery in Leroy. But yeah, it's like one of the more unique IPAs, but I feel like the people who love it, who go, tend to be IPA fans like starting out. Usually somebody's not going to touch it if they're like, I don't know how I really feel about IPAs or that, but it's
Donnie, I'll tell you,
fantastic.
I'm a big advocate for, like Luke said, I like the hazy stuff. I don't like someone to put their backwash in my beer before I drink it. However, I do enjoy like a good juice IPA like that. And actually Southern Tier has a great one. It's called Juice Jolt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so that's a great IPA for me. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I started to get into IPAs simply for the fact of the higher ABV.
Of course.
Yeah,
I
I know people like that.
I kind of looked at the menu and I was like, I want a little bit of a buzz. Let's try the 7%er, the 8%er, and the 6.5%er. And I just kind of drank them and now I like my IPAs. So you'll get
Interesting.
there. You'll get
So
there. The palate grows.
yeah. So we're gonna take a quick break real quick to get our recording set back up again. But we'll be right back, guys, and we'll talk more about high ABV stuff. How about that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, and we are back. We don't have any sponsors because we're just a couple guys, but we're back. And so I do have a high ABV story, which is why I wanted to talk about it. For Valentine's Day the other day, we Sophie and I went to a brewery here in Milwaukee. And they have a bunch of like, like special edition, like aged beers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys love your whiskey, as most Irishmen do. They have ones that are aged in Pappy Van Winkle barrels that are like 15% ABV.
How much?
It's like 15%.
Oh my god!
It's crazy. It's crazy.
So you're just drinking 16 ounces of whiskey.
Yeah, it's just malt whiskey.
So now we're almost coming away from beer and getting towards moonshine at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was telling someone at my office the other day because she's like a higher up and she's like really into whiskey. And we've talked about whiskey before, and she's like, "Oh my god, I've got a whole whiskey collection at home." And I'm like, I can't afford that right now, but your salary, you can.
Listen, I can't afford it right now, and I've got a collection going here.
You know what? One of my favorite Luke and liquor stories is when we were at Bailey Road, and he had the bar set up in the garage. So first of all, you got there and your socks and your feet are frozen in the winter.
Oh yeah, it was horrible.
But the best part was Luke, and I don't know if this is legal to say if he smuggled it or something, but Nick brought you back some Ghanaian moonshine.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that thing could peel paint.
Yes, it could.
That was rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, it tasted like smoked meat, matte nail polish remover.
Like from Ghana?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's so smooth.
What are you drinking, Keegan?
I was just showing Luke this wonderful can. This is a beer that I will review later on. This is the Brooklyn Brewery Pulp Art. So I had to check the name. Just a cool can. It's a hazy IPA, 6.5%. Nice little haze to it for our friends that like to chew their beer. And it's delicious. It's very smooth. Yeah. Luke and I were saying, he was just saying that he's pretty easily impressed by nice cans. And actually, hold on. Let's rephrase that for a second.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
No, let's not.
Let's backpedal a minute. So, Luke, while he is impressed by magnificent cans, he does also enjoy a good artwork on cans.
Oh yeah.
Specifically beer cans. There's a lot of ways that sentence could go wrong. So
let's not talk about anything to do with the C word. We'll call it the C word.
I like. I don't know if we could do that though. I don't know. Well, it's definitely not a children's show, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. Maybe they're trying to educate themselves before they can be of legal age.
Listen, I've got this sign behind me. Okay. All right. No minors served. All right. So we're not giving alcohol to minors. That's not what we're about. But if the kids want to come on and talk about their favorite beers, I'm not going to turn them away.
Well,
I'm okay with that.
If we ever have my lovely Sophie on as a guest, she grew up here in Wisconsin. And when you're 18, it's legal. Like your parents can buy you beer at a bar and drink with you.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So she's been like, because I asked her because she was 21 when we first started dating, and I was like, she was like really into beer, and I was like, did you have a fake ID or were you just like, do you have cool parents? And she's like, I have cool parents, but like, it's legal. Like, and I'm like, what do you mean? I don't get it. And she's like, yeah, you could just go to the bar and like drink with your parents at age 18.
Wow.
It kind of sounds like I was robbed of a fantastic childhood here.
Luke, let's not act like you weren't getting hammered with your parents at 18.
Yeah,
on some
here
nice
we go.
beers. Yeah. Yep.
In an undisclosed location.
Exactly.
Of course, this is all hearsay.
Yeah.
Right. There's no evidence. No, there's no evidence. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
No one has documentation of it.
Yeah, statute of limitations.
Well, like my parents would have welcomed that. I just didn't like beer or really alcohol until I was like 20, 21 years old.
It is important to note the evolution that you went through. Where
Oh, yeah, I was
gonna
like-
say the same thing.
Yeah, I was like, my end of college was crazy. Like, I'll be honest, like looking back on it, like I was like, yeah, I just don't really like anything, and like I just wasn't into it. And then like as I got older, I was like, not even as I got older, just as I devolved, I will say, and like my
Devolved.
like as the genes of my ancestry uh like took over. Like my dad's username on everything is Schlitzo Boy. Like I just come from like trash beer people. Like my dad, I've told you guys how much my dad loves Schlitz, and like he can't find it in New Hampshire. He found it at a Whole Foods in Maine. He found Schlitz.
I mean, it's a whole food, I guess.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a meal.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know Luke made a comment to me one time too, because I was like, oh, I'll drink on like special occasions and stuff. And then Luke's like, well, you're running out of special occasions because this is just a Thursday. So like I'm very self-aware on that stuff. And now I'm just like, I have a craft beer pass and I'm trying to hit like at least 25 breweries, which are just within the county I live in, ironically.
I mean,
Which is
Sounds like
crazy.
heaven.
Yeah.
You got the land of 1,000 lakes. You got the land of 1,000 breweries. It's the same difference, right?
Yeah. No,
Actually,
it's
Luke,
funny.
there is a good beer pass. I know because my dad got it for me when I turned 21. It's like a passport of New York breweries, and so it's like you work your way around New York State with all these breweries. So
See, that's what I got to do. I have to come at it in a methodical way, because the way that I go about it now is just blindly shooting in a direction and then landing at whatever brewery I can find on the side of the road.
until you run into a building, you're good.
Yeah, yeah.
Because for us, it's like we have to like decide. We're like, well, what type of beers do we want? Like, what do we want? Like, what are we feeling? It's
Mhm.
like, there's 176 beers in the pass I have. It's called the Real Craft Pass. I think there's got to be one for New York too. Idaho, Spokane, Iowa, Maine, Michigan, Montana, New Hampshire, New Mexico, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Never mind, I lied. So they have one for all those locations, but there's 176 for just Wisconsin. You get buy one, get one beers at every location. You get a little stamp on it. It's crazy.
We have here, and I'm trying to pull it up here. Oh, New York Craft Beer. It's an app where I can stamp my passport whatever brewery I'm at. I don't know if it gets me anything though. Maybe, see, I'm coming at this in the wrong way. Yeah. I gotta get some tips from you, because buy one, get one would help me out significantly.
Well, I mean, when you're buying 32, at least a half off would be nice.
Yeah, right.
Well, you're only buying 31 if it's buy one, get one, because it's only one stamp here.
Girl math. I love it.
Yeah, girl math. Beer math.
Beer math. Yep, exactly.
Beer math. Well, yeah, it's twice the ABV of another beer, but it's only one, so I've only had one beer.
Donny, I'm so bad about that. Like,
but no, you talk about that. Like, I know so many people who drink IPAs at baseball games because it's like it's just it's an ABV thing, It's
right.
like I can drink two $12 Miller Lights, or I could drink one $12 Terrapin Hopsecution or IPA, where 2/3 of it is like okay, manageable Imperial IPA, and then 1/3 of it is just warm in hell. Because I'm sitting
warm and IPA are not two things I'd ever want in my life, ever.
My friend does it all the time when we go to brewer games. He's like, I'm getting the Hopsecution. I'm like, you're gonna hate it. He's like, no, it's fine. I'll drink it fast. And then he never can drink it fast enough.
Yeah. No, I do. I enjoy my IPAs. Again, I got into them, I think, more for the ABV, which is probably not the best way to be introduced.
It's a call for help.
Let's call it. It is a call for help.
Silent.
But no, I do enjoy them now. I mean, there's definitely some like if I feel like I'm drinking a tree, I'm out. Like I don't need something that's so hoppy. I feel like I'm like I tapped a tree.
Hand it over.
I don't the hoppy, not exactly, but I do like spruce and piney beers. Like Mosaic hops is like known for being like piney. Like I do like that. They had at Indeed actually here, they had a beer that was it was a spruce and cranberry Kolsch this winter, and it just tasted like Christmas.
Well, that sounds phenomenal.
Yeah, it tasted
one that I had
great.
at Noble Shepherd, which I'm trying to think is not by Bristol. I'm trying to think of where it is. I mean, it's right next to Wizard of Clay Pottery, which is like in one of those globe houses, if you've ever seen those. It's like a weird panel rounded building. The place is so cool, but they have some of the most unique flavors and like flavor combinations in beer. But it was a pine needle, um, uh, cream ale that I loved. I mean, I do want to feel like I'm drinking a tree.
Well, that's the only vegetable that you like, Luke.
Exactly. You're right about that. I may be a picky eater, okay? But when it comes to beer, I'm going to have everything that I don't like in food form.
So what I'm hearing is if we made like a broccoli Brussels sprout IPA, Luke's all in for it.
Done, ship it. I'm in.
One serving of vegetables. And again, for the kids who don't want to eat their vegetables.
Hey, it's an adult V8.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the doctor asks if I've had my if I can balance my fruits and vegetables in that, I go, certainly. You didn't ask what form it had to be in.
Bingo.
But yeah, I
Bingo.
hit some marks here.
Absolutely.
One thing I just remembered, we talk about the beer passes and thing. There's an app called Beer Pass that I think, Luke, you definitely need to look up because it's like a monthly subscription. It's like $10 a month or something like that. But it only works in it's only partnered in 2 real cities in America, which are Rochester, New York, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
You are
that is unbelievable.
It's of all places. I know it's like the 2. Like I've talked to the people who invented it. They were at a festival I was at last summer. But it's the way it works is you literally get 1 free beer a day. Like every 24 hours, you can redeem it at any of those places.
Yeah.
Here's a question.
I'm in.
So here, can you stockpile free beers?
Once every 24 hours. So it's like, it's not the best, but I'm looking at the Rochester list now. Like, there's great, there's a lot of good spots on here that you can use it. You can, let's see, we've got OSB down in Lakeville.
Yeah.
You've got Lovin' Cup on our college campus. Yeah. At Gines. Filger's East End, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. Can you imagine walking to Filger's at 12:30 at night and you're like, I got beer pass, baby. Beer me.
Give me a draft Bud Light.
Exactly. Give me my free Bud Light.
Yeah.
Because
Blue
I
Toad
have
cider
the pass.
is up there.
Blue Toad. Yeah, that's I'm pretty sure they're in Henrietta here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're right in the what's it called? That plaza off of Clay Road there.
Oh yeah, by the coffee place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Desiatos.
And
best sub around.
Oh, Desiatos. I haven't had Desiatos. But they're also at Morgan's Crossing. I almost called it the Childlight Country Club. At Morgan's Crossing at the halfway house, they do have Blue Toad as an option.
Oh, you're kidding. Huh.
Nope. I went there with our good friend Kyle Kuzniar.
Yeah.
And we played 9 holes. I shot about 39 over. And then I got a Ruby Red Kolsch. Nice big old, they serve like a 20-ouncer. And a Blue Toad. And I went out and I was like 2 over on the back.
Hey, there you go.
And it would have felt better if you had the beer pass.
It would have. I would have gotten one. I would have gotten one free.
Yeah, but it's just funny of all 2 cities that it's in. It's in the 2 cities that I've lived, aside from my childhood hometown, the two cities I've lived in the most of my life.
That is freaking nuts.
Let's be honest though. Beer capitals of America.
I believe it.
You think about craft brewing. Now, to be fair, I've only lived in Rochester and New York City. So let's bring that into account. But craft beer in Rochester and the Finger Lakes region, craft beer in Milwaukee. You're done. You're good. You cover
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of other cities again, this is from my small worldview too, that are well known for craft beer because it's you go to St. Louis and it's just Anheuser-Busch really that people talk about.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Horns down.
Yeah. No, and it's
Yeah.
like I don't know. I like when I went to Dallas last year, like I just was like on Reddit, like looking up like, all right, like what are cool places to check out? And there was like 4 places that were like recommended. And I'm like, in a city like Dallas, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they focus on the more foo-foo culture stuff like arts and music and like,
The
stuff like
Cowboys.
that. Yeah, exactly. The Cowboys.
Cowboys.
I don't know how Jerry World doesn't have a brewery in there. Like,
Dude,
that's crazy to me.
I drank directly next to Jerry World one night. We were in Arlington. We were there, and
Nice.
there was a place. It was really cool. It was called the something keg, and it was a place where they didn't make their own beer, but they were like a keg distributor, and so they just had like beers from like all these different local places, and so like I just kept like, it was like me, my buddy from work, and then the bartender, Kevin, lovely guy. And yeah, great guy, Kevin. And we were sitting there, and he like I just kept asking him like, all right, Kevin, like give me a half pour of what you think I'd like next. And like I ended up drinking a glass of peach mead at one point.
Oh yeah.
Great. And then he told us like some guy popped in. He's like, oh, it's been kind of slow down our way too. And we asked him like, who's that guy? He's like, oh, he works at our sister bar, like just down the alley. It's like it's like an Irish bar. They have really good old fashions. And my coworker that I'm with is a big whiskey guy, and so he's like, well, we got to go there. And we walk in, and he sees like all of like the typical like super nice bottles, and he just starts asking like, how much for a pour, how much for a pour, how much for a pour. And we were drinking like we were drinking whiskey that night. I'll say that we ended up drinking whiskey.
I have learned my lesson too many times. Well, I guess that means I really haven't learned my lesson.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
saying it too many times.
You're studying.
Yeah. Yes, I'm discovering to my horror just how expensive some shots are, or like some beer, where I'll go, ooh, that sounds really interesting, and I'll have a little bit, and then I see the bill and I'm like, I did it again. I bankrupted myself. Looks like I had beer instead of rent this month.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's kind of I'm trying to think of where we can go next with beer. We've kind of devolved into whiskey now, and that's just we're not a whiskey podcast. We're a beer podcast.
Well, I mean,
we are.
I agree. Podcast. I agree. However, I and this is just me. Luke, you're my liquor guy. Like whenever Luke is like, "Hey, you got to try this." Like first man to ever introduce me to Fruit Loop vodka.
Oh my god, I remember when you bought that bottle.
That man there. And the first person to ever show me that vodka strips the paint off a bar. That man there.
I think that was the same night. That was the same night.
It was the same night.
We did find that out. Yeah.
It was. So I would love down the road would love to hear some liquor and beer pairings. Things that although
Boilermakers,
you don't go beer than liquor. You can go liquor than beer.
Sure.
We have a couple places around here that are known for like Boilermaker deals. Like you just go up and it's just like what was it? One was like the Wisconsinite, and it was like McGillicuddy's cherry and a spotted cow.
God bless.
God bless. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's great. It's like $5.
Well, I'll never forget. So my family and I went to Utah. We went to Utah for a Mormon wedding, which I'm sure I'll talk about at one point. A dry wedding, when you're forced into it, is something.
3%ers or whatever it was.
Yeah. They have they've been loosening up their laws, so you could get really screwed up by some high percentage, 3.5% alcohol content beer there. But so we're in the Wasatch Uinta National Forest, and we're so freaking hungry. Like we just get back from this big hike, and my dad goes, you guys mind if we just for 2 minutes just to see what's up the road? And again, we're in the middle of nowhere. We are in the wilderness. He goes, if we take a right and drive up just 2 minutes and see if there's anything there. And we're thinking, we got to eat, man. Like if we could just go down the mountain to where the people live and work and run businesses, we could probably find something. But nevertheless, we go a little further up the road, and this place appears, and it's like a beam of light is shining on it. and it's called the Silver Fork Lodge, tucked on the side of a mountain. We go in, we're looking at the menu, and my dad and I are deciding which beer we're going to have. And he looks, again, we are in Utah. He sees they're offering a shot of whiskey and a Jenny cream ale. And we're in Utah where we could have some Utah beer, some, like West Coast kind of stuff. And he's like, no, I'm having this. What are the chances, what are the chances that you could find this in the middle of Utah, in the mountains? It was fantastic.
It seems like Joseph Smith himself knows that Jenny is the beer of all beers.
Yes.
That's what it seems like to me.
I can get it here. There's a couple places that sell it. Like you guys know what Total Wine is, right? They're like all over the country. Yeah, we have Total Wine out here. I can usually get Jenny there, or we have Woodman's, which is a local Wisconsin grocery store, and that's usually where I go and buy my beers. My usual Friday tradition is I go and I make a custom 6-pack there. It's like $9 or whatever for 6 beers. It's really nice. But they
Nothing
always
beats
have
it, man.
they either have you can get like a 6-pack of Jenny Cream Ale Tall Boys or a 30-pack of 12 ounces. Or you can get a 12-pack of Jenny Honey Brown.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've had like those Jenny Honey Browns. They hit a little bit different. They hit a little bit different.
You got to be in the mindset for it because it's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I love telling stories, so I'm gonna go to another story.
Sure.
Colin Mix, who you guys both have met,
Mixer.
Oh yeah.
Mixer,
Yeah.
affectionately called. Yes, he we had a trip out to Buffalo to see one of our buddies, Justin, and Mixer. Now, again, I was driving, so I wasn't drinking. Just so that's on the record, very, very clear.
No proof of it otherwise.
Mixer, yeah, I mean, no. But don't drink and drive. Drinking and driving is bad. I don't drink and drive. This podcast.
Well, never mind. No, just kidding.
No, so Mixer deleted a 6-pack of those Honey Browns from Greece, New York to Buffalo, New York in an hour. And it was the start of a night, dude.
I mean, at least he wasn't drinking liquor because that man cannot handle liquor.
Nope.
Like that's like there's 3 things in life. It's like death, taxes, and Mixer drinking hard liquor.
We've seen him end up down a hill.
Yeah, bloody.
Saving Private Ryan, Saving Private Mixer.
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
God.
I mean, that's just
it was. I mean, I think we're going to come back to it a lot. I think it's going to be a common theme throughout the life of this podcast is that Genesee beer is good and gets a bad rap. I mean, Caitlin's dad calls them Jenny Screamers.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I've never understood that.
Because they give you gut rot. Like it used to be shitting your brains out back in the day. Like I bought some. I found a place back home in New Hampshire this winter when I was visiting my parents for the holidays, and I found some there, and I bought some. I'm like, hell yeah, Dad! Like I'm drinking these. And he took a sip. He's like, no, I'm not drinking that. And I'm like, why not?
People don't appreciate the water of the mighty Genesee.
I love it. I may get hot snakes and bubble gut, but I am fine with that, man. That's a risk I'm willing to take.
No, I mean, I absolutely get the beer runs after, but that's like most beers. So I might as well enjoy the beer like Jenny.
I think it's more the quantity, it's easy to get down, and then it comes out.
When I can pull up, when I can walk from University Commons on RIT's campus to the corner store and pick up a 30 rack of Jenny for $12. Come on. It doesn't get better than that. It doesn't get better.
Oh yeah. It's a good time, man.
It's amazing.
But this podcast is not about abusing alcohol. This is about appreciating alcohol.
It's about love.
Sure. And sure, if you abuse it a little bit in the act of appreciating it, well, never mind.
Do it from the safety of your own home.
Yeah. Right.
With your keys locked in a safe.
Keys are locked away. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. The alcohol abuse we don't tolerate is pouring it down the drain.
Yeah, exactly. Cheers to that, brother. I like that.
Cheers to that. Absolutely.
Cheers to that, my friends.
Cheers. Sláinte even.
Sláinte even, as they say in Ireland.
That's right. Um, how do you guys feel about Scotch ales? I'm drinking the Rohrbock Scotch ale right now, which is one of my favorites. And
That's a classic beer.
go to.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I can find it on tap most places around here, and it's one of those beers that if I'm kind of pondering what I'm going to get as the second choice, I'll ponder while I'm drinking my first choice.
That's a great way to do it. It's efficient.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love Scotch whiskey in general.
Sure.
I'm not a big whiskey guy in general, but I do think the Scotch ale has its place in that I like to drink it like I'm drinking a whiskey, where it's a slow sip, it's something that you sit while you ponder. I actually had a Scotch ale from a place down in Kenosha, Wisconsin this winter. It was a pumpkin spice Scotch ale.
Ooh,
that sounds enticing.
That sounds really good.
It was a lot of strong, intense flavors, but if you gave me like a solid 8-ounce pour of that, and like a little brandy snifter, that was something I could sit there and sip and enjoy.
Yeah, it is definitely. I mean, there's a Scottish ale, which is kind of lower alcohol content version. But the Scotch ale, I mean, this one is 6.9%, which you do have to be careful because I can drink a number of these and stand up and go, oh, right.
I shouldn't be standing. I can stand up and immediately sit back down.
Yeah.
No, I do like Rohrbock's beers. Their blueberry ale is, I know Ellicottville is classic, but the Rohrbock blueberry ale is one of my favorites.
Rohrbock hits too. I wish blueberries were included in the citrus, so I could just say all of my beer favorites are citrus, but they're not. So I mean, my grapefruits, my blueberries, I'm all in.
Fruity tooty ooh la la, as my uncle calls it.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Listen here, Luke. Listen here, Luke.
All right, so I think as we bring this episode to a close, tradition for us that we're gonna bring moving forward is that we're gonna spin a wheel with a bunch of different beer types on it.
I like wheels.
What this wheel will do is it'll tell us what beers we're gonna review for the next episode. So I think I will share my screen real quick. And then what I'm gonna do is we're gonna look at this wheel and we're gonna see what type of beers. Hold on, I close that other stuff. But we're gonna see what type of beer we're gonna drink next episode and talk about. So our homework will be to drink 2 or 3 beers and see, talk about them. I think we'll have some good insight between each other.
The school really missed out. If homework was really like this, I would have been an A+ student.
All right, are you guys seeing the wheel?
Yeah,
we're seeing it.
All right, so
give that bad boy a spin.
Let's spin this. So we'll hold ourselves accountable. And we start with wild card.
Yeah, baby, let's go.
All right.
So
what a start.
So I guess what that means for us is we're just gonna have our own choice. Bring 2 beers that you find. Should we have a rule where it's something it has to be new beers? The wild card has to be a beer we haven't had before. 2 beers we haven't had before.
Okay.
Do we like that?
I do.
That. I like that.
I'll settle with that for sure.
All right.
Now
I look forward to what you guys bring forth.
I do have a question.
Yes.
I have a beer. I drank it yesterday. Can I review it next week? Or we want totally new?
Totally new.
All right. I agree with that.
Okay.
You can go out and buy that beer again.
Yeah.
No. No. I think it should be something that we haven't had before.
I agree. That works for me.
Sounds great.
Because that way it's a new, fresh idea, and we can really we can actually have opinions.
We can dig in. Yeah.
Any style,
anything. They had 2 different styles and 2 beers we haven't had before.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Obviously you can have had the style of beer before. There's only so many, and you've probably had one of anything at this point in time.
Yeah.
But yeah. So with that, we bid you adieu. I'll bid you a cheers, my friends.
Cheers.
Sláinte,
And we'll see you in the
friends.
future.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.